Honda Superbike, Triumph Bonneville and Honda Goldwing are some examples of proper iconic motorcycles. Each one has brought something very special to the table that has thereafter changed motorcycling forever. The Honda Super Cup brought cheap, reliable motorcycling to the world, while the Honda Goldwing showed everybody that motorcycling can be comfortable, even in your 70s. Get your motorbike news in a pleasant way. Hit that subscribe button and turn on your notifications so you don't miss the next episode. But today we are here for a different legend. The brand new BMW 2019 1250GS. They say the GS was designed to handle any type of terrain, hence the name GS. Gelände Straße. Off-road, on-road. Does it still deserve its iconic status after 39 years, or has it been diluted to the not-so-legendary status of Starbucks taxi? So what we're going to do is pick a place at random, using the sat-nav, somewhere anywhere in the country, and using all the tools that this bike provides us after 39 years of being in production. We're going to see if it gets us there. Alright, so we're going to zoom out of this probably very expensive nav unit. Okay, not that high. But there, close our eyes and pick a place. The route was perfect. It would take us through the city, on highways, on national roads, and of course on off-road. But getting out of Bucharest on a Friday afternoon is a lot easier said than done. Riding a big adventure bike in the city is not the ideal situation. But with the GS it's not the worst thing in the world, because it's a very agile bike. You can quickly move it around, swerve in and out. Together with the hydraulic clutch that's extremely easy to operate, one of the easiest clutches to operate, it's not really a bad sensation riding it in town. It's a little Vespa! Quick! Chase after the little Vespa! Let's play! Super culoare! Okay, it's not a girl, it's a guy. So if you thought she was a girl like me, it's not. A very quick hour later, we made it to the highway part of this journey. Riding at 130 k's an hour, that's 80 k's an hour for you Americans, the first thing you notice is how comfortable the bike is. They have had almost 4 decades to sort that out, so good job to them. I've had 10-hour long rides on the 1200GS, and after a little break and a cup of coffee, all I wanted to do was get back on it again. So that's one of the most important factors when thinking about a long journey bike, an adventure bike. How comfortable is it for long journeys? This one seems to be proper comfortable. The next thing is the seat height. The GS was previously known to only be a bike for big, burly, tall men, but they made a lot of improvements regarding that as well. So now you can order one with a lowered frame. If you're a short guy or gal, you can order one with a normal frame but a lowered seat. And the standard seat that comes with it has got 2 positions, a low one and a high one. So it's basically anybody can ride this now. The next thing that's also important, not specifically for highway riding, for most riding, are the mirrors. How easy are they to adjust? How easy are they to adjust while you're riding? How well can you see through them? And the answer to all of those is easy, very easy, and very well. Again, 4 decades. Now the next important thing for highway riding, in my opinion, is the wind protection. And that starts from the bottom and goes all the way to the top. So the lower part of my body, I feel absolutely no wind. My legs are well protected by the engine. Middle part of my body is well protected by the bike. My hands are protected by the hand guards, which are adjustable. You can take them a bit more up or a bit more down according to where you're riding. And the most important is head protection from the wind. And that is being taken care of by this windscreen. This is the same windscreen as on the 1200GS. It is adjustable up and down. So even this GS screen, which is a bit smaller than the Adventure, is doing its job properly. I can feel absolutely no wind here, nothing in front of my face, and the wind starts pretty much on top of my helmet. Another great component for highway riding is cruise control, and unfortunately a lot of bikes do not come with this. However, the GS has it incorporated from the, if I'm not mistaken, from the 2013 model. They've had cruise control. Maybe they've had it before. Cruise control can be very easily activated by the push of this little button over here. And here we can see that it's set to 132 kilometers an hour. So now we can rest our acceleration hand, no problem. This is very easy when you need to quickly take your hand off, your right hand off your acceleration hand, and the bike just keeps on going. It's another one of those things that if you don't have it, you don't miss it, but once you have it and you started getting used to it, that is really difficult to live without. So in my books, that's a great plus. Another little helpful gadget, I can't call it anything else than that, it's very helpful, but it is a gadget, is this little wonder wheel here. On the newer models, it controls the nav and the TFT screen. You can quickly just turn the wheel and it'll zoom in, zoom out on the nav, and you can switch the mode to the TFT. So now if you don't have a nav, you're controlling the TFT with it. Again, not something that's completely necessary on an adventure bike, but it's something that's really welcome. It's the little things they think about. Now that we're done with the highway part of the journey, we've got national roads left, and then a bit of off-road. Romania's only got about 800 kilometers of highway, and we've done about 15% of that. One thing that gives me a lot of comfort on these kind of roads where anybody can, brake in front of you or pull out in front of you, on this bike specifically, are the brakes. Brakes are top notch. They are hands down the best brakes I have ever had the pleasure of riding. BMW has obviously done their job properly here. ABS Pro, that's another comfort factor to me. That means that it doesn't matter what angle I'm in, I can feel comfortable pulling this brake lever, and I'll know that the bike will sense the angle that I'm at, and I don't know what it does. It probably takes the right decision so that I stay upright or I don't fall. But it's a great comfort factor. I know for a fact they they've definitely saved me from injury. I don't know if I would go as far as to say they saved my life, but definitely saved me from crashing into somebody that was pulling out in front of me a couple of times actually. And I know a couple of my friends have very similar stories, so I have the utmost respect for what BMW has put in here. Now, one of the reasons that the brakes are so good is that they are being held by the suspension of the bike as well. So when I brake, the bike does not dive in. It stays level, it stays upright as if on rails, let's call it. Now the reason BMW has managed to do that is basically by changing the way the suspension works. In the front of the bike they've put a telelever and the shock. At the back of the bike they've put a paralever and another shock. They've got a gyroscope, they've got sensors all around the bike to know what the bike actually wants to do. If you're going over a bump, if you're going uphill. And all of that is linked to a computer. And what that computer does every, a couple of 100 times a second, it checks all of those and And basically it can control the front shock or the back shock to make it stiffer or make it looser or push it up or push it down. And what that does, end result, is that the bike stays level. When you're braking or when you hit a pothole, the wheel goes in the pothole, but the bike itself stays level. Now, it could all be in my head, but this bike definitely feels a lot more agile, a lot more nimble. I know the bike has gained 5 Ks, but it really doesn't feel like that. It actually feels like it shed some weight. It feels as if this was the fat girl at prom that became a hottie afterwards. I don't know how to explain it better, but it's a lot more nimble, it's a lot more agile. Look at that, power on demand. Let's go a bit slower here, shall we? I don't know how much of that has to do with the increase in power or the increase in torque or this variable timing shift cam thingy-majig, but I think it's a mixture of all of them put together. This lovely new engine was born. Let's talk a bit about this shift cam. Now, variable timing has been done before. Cars have had it, bikes have had it, but BMW has done it a little bit differently. They've done it all electronically, which means that it's controlled by a computer now. And they claim that the shift itself happens within 5 milliseconds. Can't even close your eyes that fast. So anything after 5,000 RPMs, the cam is fully open. And below 5,000 it can either be fully open or fully closed. It's also linked to the amount of power that you require from the bike at that moment. So if you're at 2,000 but you're flooring it, it's obviously going to be fully open. They say that the main advantage of this is a more controllable engine at lower RPMs, and that's exactly where we're going, off-road. So I can't wait to see how the new engine feels on an off-road at very low RPMs. Maybe we should test and see if we feel anything once we cross the 5,000 RPM mark. See if there's a boost in power that we can actually feel in our legs or in our butt or somewhere. They say you can't, but let's see. So let's ride in second. We're not going to be asking the bike for a lot of power, so the cam should be partially open now. We're not going mental on the throttle or anything. We're at 3,000, 4,000, accelerating slowly, 5,000, nothing, not a single damn thing. Well, if the actuation itself is so fast, then obviously you're not going to feel anything. But we'll see how the new engine handles on off-road. That's where it's going to matter the most. We are just about to go off-road, but decided to stop for a little bit, take a break. We've done about 160, 170 kilometers so far. And while we do that, let's talk about some other things about the bike that we haven't touched upon yet. The LED headlight is now standard on all GS models, so it's not an option anymore. Good thing. The TFT screen is also standard on all GS models, and I must say this is a huge improvement from an older analog display that was almost impossible to read while riding. This TFT is easily readable during the day, even if the sun is shining straight at it, and during the night it dims down so it's not distracting. Reworked exhaust system. This is the only bike as far as I know that is Euro 5 ready. Makes no difference to my life, but there might be some eco-conscious riders. This is for you. Keyless ride. Now this does make a difference in my life. Leave the key in a jacket pocket and forget about it. No more fumbling, no more searching the house while fully geared up because you forgot the key. This is one of those innovations that once you have it, you really can't go back to life without it. So we have about 15 kilometers of riding off-road and then about a kilometer of riding through the field, it seems like it. So let's get on with it. Let's prepare the bike for off-road. First, let's switch the bike to Enduro mode. We have our little mode button here, which we press until we see Enduro come up here. Enduro, there we go. The next thing we need to do is move the windshield down, and we do that by rotating this. There's not much difference with the windshield down compared to it up, but you get maybe a couple of centimeters more to see all the rocks and stones and off-road coming at you. A lot of bikes nowadays come with different riding modes, which is a very good thing. I consider BMW's implementation to be brilliant. The throttle response, for example, on enduro mode is completely different than the throttle response on dynamic mode, which is exactly how it should be on off-road. Let's do a little test. So this is the way the throttle responds in enduro mode. And this is the way it responds in dynamic mode. It's a lot quicker in dynamic and a lot more sluggish in enduro mode, and that's only one of the changes the bike makes when you switch from the different riding modes. The suspension is really doing its job here. I'm sitting down at the moment and I'm not really feeling a lot of bumps. The scenery is really breathtaking. This is turning out to be quite a pleasant adventure. I mean, it was all random, it could have been any place. Look at those fall colors, look at that. 2 weeks ago, 3 weeks ago, all of this must have been completely green. And now it's all the different colors of yellow and rust, and this is exactly the kind of adventure this bike was made for. I must say the hydraulic clutch is very well done. It requires very little effort to change gears. You can even change them with one finger if you want. I wouldn't recommend it, but 2 is more than enough. 2 fingers on your brake, 2 fingers on your clutch, and the rest of the fingers grabbing the handlebar so you don't fall off. And hydraulic clutches and hydraulic brake levers make this a hell of a lot easier. I'm in 3rd gear now, doing 26, 27 in 3rd gear, and if I need power, I've got it. The bike doesn't comment, doesn't stall, doesn't tell me I'm stupid, just gives it to me. Good little bike. And to show you how well behaved this new engine is, here's me riding off-road. It's not a difficult off-road, but it is off-road. If you make a mistake, you can fall. With one hand, enjoying the scenery and having a little drag of my vapey thingy. Some people might prefer proper off-roading, but this to me is very relaxing. I don't need to stand up because the suspension's doing all the work, so not really feeling a lot of bumps, so it's not uncomfortable for me, it's quite comfortable. The bike has another function that I haven't spoken about that's very useful on off-road. It's useful on on-road as well, but it's mainly designed for off-road, and that's the hill climb assist. And I'll show you exactly what I'm talking about when I can find a little hill. Alright, here's a little hill that I found. All you need to do is stop on an incline. With the older version you had to press the brake again, and then this little H sign would come up here. If we take it out of gear, I'll show you, there we go. No brakes, no nothing, the bike will apply the brakes automatically until you're ready to go. This new model automatically detects when you're on an incline and will apply that automatically. With the previous models, it'll work exactly the same, but it's all in manual mode, so all you had to do was just press the brake lever again. And once you want to get going again, put it in gear and just go. It'll automatically disengage the brake. If you don't like it, you can turn it off altogether so it doesn't interfere with your riding skills. And what do we have here? A little river crossing. That shouldn't be a problem, should it? Take it slow. And we're over. And another little river crossing. But a smaller one. Go, 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 go! Yes! Come it has brought us. Look at all of this. Look at this beautiful, beautiful, beautiful place. Today has turned out to be a pretty good adventure. It's starting to rain, I see. Look at all those clouds over there. But with a little bit of rain protection, there shouldn't be any problem. Let's conclude. My conclusion is that the GS did win this challenge. It did bring me very comfortably on highway, on normal roads, on off-road, in the middle of nowhere. It showed me very, very beautiful places that otherwise would be almost impossible to get to. I'm sure there are other bikes that are more comfortable on a highway. I'm sure there are other bikes that are much better off-road, but this is the one and only that is the jack of all trades, kind of does all of them together and is pretty good at most of them. So after 40 years, the GS is still a legend. It's still got its legendary status, and all in all, it is a brilliant bike to ride. The new model, the 1250 model, does have a lot of new changes that are all of them very welcome. The engine, however, is the star of this new version. It pretty much changes the bike completely. The bike actually feels a lot younger. There's no other way to describe it. It's a much younger bike. It's a lot happier to give you all that extra power whenever you want it, you know, without saying no. So good on them. Now the adventure's not over yet. I've still got about 120 kilometers to get home. It is getting dark, so we'll probably do some night riding as well. We'll take a break. We have ridden about 500 kilometers today, so get some food and then enjoy some night riding. That's when all the vampires come out. Just saying. Alright, we are almost home. Last couple of kilometers, it's pitch black, and I don't know how much this GoPro can see at night, but I wanted to talk a bit about the features that I like, that I think are useful at night. And the first one is obviously the LED headlight. Now it's pitch black around us. We're actually in the middle of a forest, kind of. There's trees to the left and to the right, and I can see everything. I don't have the auxiliary lights, which those would help a lot. I don't have to use my high beam. So this LED light is basically a work of art. It's very, very good. I've ridden bikes that when the sun set and it was dark, you could not see anything. Nothing. You had to find a car and ride behind them, right behind their lights. But with this one, look, that's high beam. You can see absolutely everything around me, but obviously I can't ride with that on. All this boils down to is the fact that I don't have to plan my trips in such a way that I'm home by dark, because it's really not that much of an inconvenience riding at night. The next very useful thing are the heated grips. It's a bit chilly now, 14 degrees. I haven't put my gloves on yet, but I have turned on the heated grips, and they warm up very fast and they keep your hands very warm. And the last thing I wanted to see is if this TFT screen would bother me at night, if the light coming from it would distract me from the road, and it's not doing that absolutely at all. I still don't enjoy riding at night, but if I have to, I'd rather do it on a bike like this.
That's the show, ladies and gentlemen. Hit that like button if you learned something new. Consider subscribing if you want to catch the next episode. Cheers, see you next time.